ya. Not a smooth talker under pressure. Sweaty palms ain't making it much better. Something about you feels so special. Pretty over from the minute that I met ya. Trying to get your attention. You make me nervous. In the corner of my best friend's sofa, you were getting buzzed on rum and cola. Wasn't brave enough yet just to talk to you. Not a smooth talker under pressure. Sweaty palms ain't making it much better. Something about you feels so special. Met the other night, but I can't get you off my mind. Not a smooth talker under pressure. Sweaty palms ain't making it much better. Something about you feels so special. Pretty over from the minute that I met you.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and fund our work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Real quick sprints. Take the disc briskly, sunshine glints off my frisbee crisply. Knows how it goes with the sand between our toes. We got both of the pivots and all of the throws. Got to hold the disc and move it at the right time. When you flick your wrist and you're feeling sublime, compose your throws, not discuss fluttery. Tricks from the brick and your biscuits buttery. Feel the spirit, stretch every sinew, stream, encourage, yeah, we continue. Take my hand, yeah, come with me. From the disc to the sand, to the beach, to the sea. There's magic in the air. All you have to do is catch it. EBUCC 2022.
Well, welcome everybody to the beach here in Portimão for the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships, and we are back in the open division with Discobolo from Italia and Gronical Dizziness from the Netherlands. Myself, Tom Stiles, alongside the wonderful Benjamin Rees, enjoying an afternoon of action on the Algarve with the Atlantic over to our right, the flags of the nations in front of us, and the frontage of the Praia del Rocha over to our left. Benji, it really is a beautiful scene.
Isn't it just? We are very lucky to be able to do this, sitting on top of our little shipping container. It's, yeah, best seat in the house, I think.
And these two teams, Discobolo from Italy and Gronical Dizziness from Groningen. How do I pronounce the town?
Groningen.
Groningen in the Netherlands here. I'm struggling to find a household name amongst the player rosters, but I've been watching them both warm up, and this looks like it's going to be a very competitive match. So I'm excited, and you know, it is the most beautiful conditions for high-level ultimate. So let's get stuck in. If you are watching on YouTube, just do stay active in the comments. We might occasionally go to you for some local knowledge as Discobolo get us underway with a big pull from Menguli, which is not going to stay in bounds. It just flutters and flies and drifts towards this near side out of bounds.
If you want someone to keep an eye on, I will point out for Gronical Dizziness, the number 42 Johan van der Woede, who was part of that Is No Good setup this year that had a very successful season.
Yes, I did wonder where I'd seen his name before. Big shot straight up and immediately finding Arnold Garalt on the 7 shirt for Gronical Dizziness. He looked really hot in the warm-up, and it's proving to be an obvious target. Downfield, Dizziness getting their first point.
Yeah, you can see there what athletes that Gronical Dizziness were in the warm-ups, because they were all over the field, and it was, yeah, quite difficult. You could tell that they were going to be a real handful if you couldn't stop the big look, and I think that might be Den Hertog with the put deep. Yes, it was indeed. A very tall, lean figure. They've got a lot of height and size downfield, and they're not afraid to hit those big shots when they need to.
Yes, Lars Den Hertog have been playing with Gronical Dizziness and UFO and AUC. Played for the Netherlands side in when he was under 17s in Lecco in 2014, so there's a rich history and a good put to get the team going. The Italians now, Discobolo, floating one to this near side, plenty of time to run that down. Will he keep it in bounds? He does. And then finds a lovely flick. Great work from the 10 shirts of Romandini. Great collect in full flight, and then a presence of mind to find the fast cut of Pascalia. I think in the 00 shirt.
So I think they've got Pascalia wearing 0 and Gamandi wearing 00. But that makes it really confusing in commentary source. So Gamandi's listed as 100.
Ah, okay.
Both sides there clear that they're not afraid to go big and use the deep look to really open up the field, especially early on in games. If you can put the threat of the deep option in your opponent's mind, especially on the smaller compressed fields where, to be honest, you can really hit that from anywhere, then all of a sudden you really do open up a lot of space for yourself underneath, because the opponent is always thinking about letting you go past you for the score.
Do you think this is a strategy the teams have it's not an unusual strategy to throw deep in the first kind of 3 or 4 points, because it makes the field bigger for the rest of the game.
And it's just good to get those throws dialed in early, as opposed to coming on late in the game where you haven't really put it deep at all and you suddenly need to find your range.
Well, 4 passes, 2 points. It's kind of the story of where we've gone. It's very, very quick goals for both teams, and Gronical Dizziness finding Van der Voorde coming across the field and into the end zone. Oh, making it look so easy. Taji Pasigna with the goal for Gronical Dizziness.
Yeah, as well as obviously representing his kind of adopted city in the Netherlands out here. He's originally from the Philippines, so represented the Philippines and the Netherlands on the beach. Played for the Boracay Dragons as well, that familiar and formidable beach outfit. And yeah, wanted to start playing Ultimate because he wanted to kind of start a new chapter of his life, move on to something different. And yeah, evidently a really good player to have. Said maybe keep an eye out for his deep looks, running deep, on getting on the end of throws, and that time Van der Voorde provides it. That's what now, 6 passes across the 3 points. Yeah, it's going fast.
Yeah, 2-1 to Gronical Dizziness. Everything on serve so far, no turnovers. As we see, we think this is Germani in the 0-0. And it's got it now to Palombarini. Flamini. Germandi. Over to the far corner. Kelly surveys the options, send it back into the middle. Rimondini. Oh, beautiful low release. There was a bid coming in from Eric Verhaar, but it doesn't stop Discobolo. A few more passes required from the Italians this time, but still clean ultimate here on the beach in the Open Division.
Yeah, Jacopo Kelly started playing 13 years ago and started playing with CUSB, but founded Discobolo Pontevecchio in 2012 and has kind of been a bit of a talisman for them ever since. One of the team managers. They now have 6 active teams and over 120 players, and when you consider they're not even the biggest club in Bologna, it just shows the depth of the player base there, and utilising the inside break to get it towards that far sideline and the continuation with the force on the wrong side down into the end zone for the score, 2 apiece. Still no turnovers.
Well, this is shaping up to be a very high quality match, Benji. The breeze isn't going to trouble any of the throwers here. It's coming off the Atlantic, across the beaches, the perfect sands here in Portimão. And it's throwing into a headwind here as the pull goes up from Fontana. And caught just on the edge of the end zone. Good floaty release. Gets it to Van der Voorde, who sends it deep. Again, Garantz is the target. Reaches up and brings it down. Garelts showing himself with the 2nd point of the game for him. And again, Johan Van der Voorde, the assist, providing with a deep disc into the end zone.
Yeah, just putting air underneath that one, getting it deep, nice and early, but again, getting a bit of loft and height on it, giving the receiver a chance to chase it down. And what I like here is Garelt isn't going full pelt all the way. He's just taking a little bit off as he's going in towards the end zone. And by doing so, he's keeping the defender there, Mengoli, on his back shoulder. And thus it means that he's not actually trying to jump and take this disc at its highest point. He's just kind of popping up to attack it a little bit with the defender on the backside. He still is elevating for it, but you can see where he is in relation to the disc and his defender. Right in the middle, making it so difficult to come round. And you saw a little bit on the release there from Van der Voorde. Just maybe a little bit of backspin on the throw, just to get it to hold up.
20 years of experience from Garelts, and he's played all over the world as well. New Zealand. Big bid coming in. Bit of contact, but not called by anybody. Discobolo. Deep shot goes up. There's going to be a bit of pressure here, but it's floated perfectly into the path of Kelly. And Jacopo Kelly brings it down in the end zone, and this is a beautiful game of ultimate. Clean, fast. Both sides unable to find the defensive pressure necessary to get a turnover. 3 apiece.
This is what beach is all about, I think. You know, it's played quickly at a pace. Teams can go deep from anywhere on the field. If you get the disc moving properly, as a defender, your job is so hard because you always feel like you're just chasing shadows. It's so difficult to keep up. Just seem to sink into the sand. But this is a beautiful put. Lovely bit of shape on that one to take it past the defender. And Kelly quids in the end zone, or Euros in, I guess.
3 each here at the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships from the sands of Portimão.
The Praia de Rocha. Interestingly, at the back of the bottom of the reverse of the Discobolo jerseys, you can see hashtag brush your teeth, which, I mean, good oral hygiene, I approve, but also I wonder if there's a little bit more to that we're missing.
Yes, there's a backstory to be found. If you know the origin of the brush your teeth, do pop it in the comments on YouTube. We'll have a read of those when we get to half. Van der Voorde now for Dizziness. The Netherlands team sending it deep. There's going to be a little bit of stretch required for this. Oh my goodness. Nearly got the fingertips there. And the first turnover of the game has come from a Johan van der Voorde overthrow. The target into the end zone was Taji Pasigna, who's already scored a goal for this Gronical Dizziness side. But Discobolo now with the disc, with possession, and Dizziness needing to get this back. What can their O-line defense do to prevent the Italians?
I thought the disc looked good when it went up, but it just kept on going, and yeah, Pasigna was just never able to catch up to it.
Casagrande, high stall count, just dishes it back. Flick forward, it requires a high grab, but that's no problem for Pencini. Back to Gentilucci. Gentilucci sends it, but that's going to cross the top of a Dizziness player, and all they needed was a little touch. Took a bit of edge and pushed it to the ground. Lars Den Hertog with the D, and straight away the target's coming back the other way. This time the disc is perfect. The double-handed grab from Taji Pasigna, and he takes it to the ground. That turnover that went the way of the Italians has been won right back, and they just repeated the play they wanted to do the first time.
Shooters got to shoot. You give your big players license to take those deeper shots, because if they don't come off, you trust them to get the turn back, as they did there. Den Hertog peeling off to give that help defense, and just a little bit of a tip round the corner. And then what I love is, you know, there's no slow play. We'll walk it to the front of the end zone. Now we'll pick it up. We'll get in play quickly before the Discobolo defense is set. And eventually, they're going to get Pasigna leaking in behind by hook or by crook.
Brilliant goal.
Van der Voorde with the quick pickup. First pass to Den Hertog. And you know what? This is on, so we'll just go back to it.
It was on the first time. Oh, look, it's still on now.
He's going to be a real threat, and if Discobolo cannot stop him going deep, they are in for a long, long afternoon.
Still on serve in this open division pool game between the Italian team Discobolo and Gronical Dizziness from the Netherlands. Spreading the play, flick into the end zone, spiraling high. Player underneath it, can he keep the toes in the back of the end zone? Flamini, and he's calling it out. There's a stretch, and he's called it in.
Yeah, so the rules are, if your foot's not on top, if your foot is on top of the tape, then you are out. But you can keep your foot underneath it and drag the tape, and that counts as being in bounds. That was a rule that was changed a couple of years ago. So they're just having the discussion, and yeah, they did signal the goal. Good spirit there. Again, it's getting a little bit of separation, and you know these throws are going to go. They've got the throwers, they back their receivers to bring it down, and a little bit of toe drag swag at the back of the end zone for the score.
I thought he'd overthrown that, but the persistence from the receiver, you see just kept the toes wrapped around the tape the whole while, got the hands, and a brilliant goal. Just trying to see who that was. The 31 shirts?
I believe
Flamini,
it was
yes.
Giovanni Flamini.
Yeah. I said his name. I should remember. Did you see who threw it, Benji?
I did not.
Okay.
Flamini, as well as playing in Bologna, also spent a little bit of time out in the States playing in the college game out there with Zoodisk from the University of Massachusetts, which has produced such players as Jeff Babbitt.
He's quite good.
He's not bad.
This disc is drifting towards the sideline, but it's still in bounds. With Gronical Dizziness connect with it. What a game we're seeing here. Just the 2 turnovers at 3-4, and clean hold after clean hold. This time it was the presence of Arnout Garelt, who closes in for his second score.
So he's put in his, in his little bio, other interesting facts. Don't mention my age. He says the older I get, the faster I was. I'll be honest, he seems pretty fast now, so I dread to think how fast he was back in the day.
He played in Royan in France in WBC. He was already Dutch Masters eligible then. And he says his sporting hero is Jack Williams, which I totally understand, having seen Jack play 2 big tournaments.
I do really enjoy seeing, when you see kind of older players kind of say that the younger players fuel them, they give them a bit of inspiration, and likewise, when you see younger players saying players maybe a little bit older who, making that slightly cross Frisbee generational gap. Johan van der Wood, for example, lists his favourite Ultimate player as Sarah Serge Griffith.
Oh, yes. Good choice.
100%. For a lot of the Italians, unsurprisingly, it's Davide Mori.
Flamini with the disc to spread the play. Dizziness unable to prevent the deep shot going up. Oh, this time it was beyond the run. And Jacopo Chili has to watch that one disappear into the sand. So only...
Yeah, Palombarini couldn't do anything more. It seemed pretty good, but evidently just put too much on it. And Captain Kelly couldn't track it down. By the way, as it wasn't impressive enough, Kelly's a gelato chef.
Is he?
Yeah. This is going to go back, so potentially a bit of contact on the throw there. It's Daniel Fernandez on the mark.
Oh, well done, Benji. I hadn't spotted that at all. Discobolo maintaining possession after that conversation. Palombarini resets, gets the disc going again for Discobolo. Swings it out to this side, Rimondini. That is a lightning fast disc, way too hot for any of the receivers. Very powerful arm on the 31 shirt of Flamini. Too powerful for the conditions. And Dizziness do get that turnover. And this is the first time the D-line have had the disc for Gronical Dizziness.
Yeah, that is the first turnover for Discobolo's O-line after the previous one was called back. When we saw Gronical Dizziness's O-line turnover, they got it back and punched it in. We'll be interested to see if the Italians can do the same.
Game finally balanced, but there's a whole deal of air underneath this one as it heads towards the Atlantic. And in the end, both players misreading it, perhaps in the wrong spot to begin with, as it carried over their heads.
Yeah, Flamini won't mind that. Sucking him into the early bid, but disc given right back, is it? Or is there a foul? And there is an accepted foul call.
Accepted. Yeah, good to see these two teams, despite how close this game is. Conversations have happened calmly. So calmly, in fact, we didn't notice one of them was going on.
Especially when it's a deep put like that, and it feels like you've got that turnover which you've strived so hard for. Sometimes it is difficult to keep level-headed in discussions. And again, they've overshot that one.
Well, the play that seemed absolutely locked in and rock solid at the start of this game has started to show some weaknesses. And again, Gronical Dizziness have got the disc on defense.
You can see actually with the flags in the background that the wind is coming off the Atlantic, so it's pushing discs further towards the back of that end zone that we're seeing.
You see the cliffs over to our left as the players walk out to the end zone line. Another disc that's got way too much air in. There's a proper hospital pass. Some barging and bulging around. There's going to be a contact call. I think everybody was a little guilty there. Marius van Laar is the Dutch player involved, pulling that up off the ground. His Italian competitor, Emmanuel Giamandi. And I think the eventual foul came in from Flamini, who arrived late at the party.
And it's going to be an accepted foul call as well. So again, that good spirit that we're talking about, having those productive discussions.
Marius van Laar eases it down the line, eases it too far away from Gronical Dizziness. They've given back that opportunity.
These long points, especially on the beach where they seem to suck all your energy, can be so important in the overall flow of the game. So it's not a surprise there to see them call a timeout from Emmanuel Giamandi.
Well, it's October 2022, and it really has been an exciting year of Ultimate, traveling all the way around the world. It was a World Games year, Benji. It was the World Ultimate Club Championships, and Ultimate sort of works in these 4-year cycles of 2 years where the focus is on club, and then 2 years where the focus is on the national sides. And we've just kind of come to the end of those 2 years focused on club, with the World Club Championship being that final event. And now we've got 2 years coming up of European Championships for nations, and then World Championships for nations. We've also had the World Masters Championship.
So, open division action at the moment. Discobolo Pontevecchio from Bologna, Italy, up against Gronical Dizziness from Groningen in the Netherlands. The Dutch up 5-4, and this is a real grind of a point here. The Italians taking a timeout here with a couple of turnovers each way, knowing that they cannot really afford to let the Dutch get too far ahead. They've struggled a little bit with the deep game that looked to be on point early in the contest, because the wind has picked up slightly and it has pushed a lot of their hucks too far out of reach.
Yes, it's a perfect summation of the issue that they've been having. Is
Thank you, Tom.
The connections that seemed absolutely locked on at the start have suddenly looked loose, and Gronical Dizziness haven't quite taken advantage of one of those mistakes yet. But they definitely had more chances than they did at the start of the game. Tom Stiles alongside Benji Rees, with the pleasure of bringing you the coverage here from Portimão and the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships.
Gamandi's bringing the disc in off the timeout. It's not Gamandi, excuse me. It is Remondini.
Discobolo trying to find an outlet for this disc. Gets it across to Remondini again, who sends it deep straight away, looking for the target, which is Kelly, and this time the long shots do reconnect. It looked like they'd got a couple of wires loose, but the timeout has worked and done exactly what they needed to do.
If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. I think the reason this works is because the huck goes up a little bit later, so Kelly's much more in stride on that deep cut. He hasn't got quite as much ground to make up. The throw comes a bit later. And yeah, they just take a little bit off this one. It's not gunned as far as they can. Just a bit more touch on this throw from Remondini and Kelly. Jumping it into the end zone, clearly pumped because the timeout worked to perfection.
I wonder, Benji, and maybe you have a perspective on this, why, given the fact that both teams have scored all the points in the downwind end zone, with majority of which have been scored with deep shots, that the defense hasn't adapted to really take away that option. You know, let's just poach somebody off deep in the end zone and make the team change what they're doing. Because for both teams, the deep shots are working.
It's one thing knowing it's coming, and it's another thing trying to stop it. Even if you know they're going to look deep, can you be disciplined enough not to get sucked in to those convincing underneath fakes? That one is going to land out of bounds, and it will be brought into the brick mark by Den Hertog, who is a towering figure, over 2 meters tall.
Yes, he's very, very slim legs, but when they get moving, can really carry some speed across this sand. Little flick to open up the space. Contact made. There
is a pick there. Den Hertog, by the way, you know why he's got a knee brace on? He's just casually got a torn ACL, meniscus and bone damage from a collision at training. Been training 7 days a week in time to recover in 8 weeks in order to be here at EBUCC.
Wow.
That's commitment.
Just a little bit of protection for the knee here on the sand. Hacker. Den Hertog gets it across to Van der Voorde. On the far sideline, Van der Voorde still has it. Discobolo a little bit more poachy with the defense, but they can't stop the fast cut coming out of the deep space. Taji Pasigna comes with another point, his third of the game.
Well, you mentioned what can we do to try and stop those deep looks going, and for Discobolo the idea was, well, we'll play a little bit of zone, and that hopefully will slow them down. It will stop those instant deep looks. We'll force a little bit more handler movement and working it between them. But Gronical Dizziness, they got the brakes off when they needed. They got these little forces into the cup, and you see Van der Voorde just gesturing with the head, trying to drag players across, and then they just cannot cover the speed of Pasigna to that front cone on the far sideline.
Well, this might be a turning point, because we now have an opportunity. We now have an opportunity for Gronical Dizziness to come down here on defense and take half.
Yeah, still no breaks in this game.
There's 6 turnovers by our reckoning,
and those have come in a combined 2 points.
Yes.
It's yeah.
It was completely clean, wasn't it? Till 3 each. Yeah, it's great. It's been a brilliant game. I hope you're enjoying it as well.
We've had our fair share of brilliant games already this weekend, I think. And we're only on Friday. It's not even technically the weekend.
That one's going out the back.
Someone had their Weetabix or whatever the Portuguese equivalent is this morning.
Yeah.
What do Portuguese people have for breakfast?
Well, I've no doubt this will be the week we find out, Benji. I had a cheese and ham sandwich with the ham taken out.
Oh, I had a cheese and ham sandwich with the ham still in there.
You could have had my ham as well.
Are you vegetarian?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
This is what the content people came for, Benji.
But hey, people want to know what you've been doing in your quote-unquote retirement, so...
Flamini sends the disc up. Discobolo chasing it down, bringing it in. No problem. Those deep shots from the Italians are still hardwired. And there was no mistaking the fast cut of Polambrerini going into that deep space and bringing another one down, and it's Galaxy points.
It is indeed. That's the risk you get with the brick mark, because they get time to get their offense set up and know what they want to do. And they're saying that there's a half, but I thought there was a half-time cap. Is that not how it works? Am I missing? I think there is a half-time cap, so it's still half at 7. What's good about this throw is the edge is taking it towards this near sideline, so it's fading over the head of the defenders on towards the break side, where the Discobolo receiver, Jacopo Palombarini, is always going to have position. Palombarini is a righty, but has been playing lefty for the past year or so because he's injured his right shoulder.
Oh. Was that a Rimondini assist there? That previous was?
Flamini, maybe?
Flamini.
I wasn't sure, to be honest. I was looking at the receiver and not the thrower.
Ah.
So, 6-all, Galaxy point. Still on serve at 6 apiece.
Gronical Dizziness from the Netherlands with a chance to take half here on offense, nicely opening up the gap between the two Discobolo defenders. The Italians using a zone, 2 marking, but then downfield they've gone for very much more of a one-on-one coverage. Working it around the black shirts. Van der Voorde gets it across to Van Furken. Back to Van der Voorde, space and time, and Gronical Dizziness make light work dancing around the Discobolo defense. They take the half, 7-6.
Just calmly moving it. When they get it through that front line, they were bouncing it nice and quickly, utilizing the width of the pitch. And okay, there's nothing there, so I'll wait for you to get back in position, and then roll it around the back again and start moving. Just nothing they could do, really. I appreciate the Discobolo, trying something different defensively. Why not? Because you never know, it might pay dividends, but I must admit the Dutch looked very unflustered by this.
Yeah, the movement, they always had an option.
That was maybe the diciest throw, that little blade, but put enough spin and revolution on it. Van der Voorde was in position and just continuing to Den Hertog, who we've usually seen throwing the scores, but as you see there, he can catch him as well.
Yeah, Van der Voorde's third assist of the game.
So, obviously, one of the members of our ULTI.TV crew, who's not here this week, sadly, Steph Rapazzo, coaching is no good for the bulk of the season. When Johan van der Voorde came to tryouts, he was over the moon because he became a key piece of their O-line. And, yeah, I think he felt that a lot of other teams passed over a really good player, and he was more than happy to have him fall into their lap.
So, second half here at the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships. Discobolo still going downwind. No points scored in that upwind end zone yet. Big shot to the back corner. Is it going to stay in? No, it was always too far. And the 31 shirt of Flamini just comes across and consoles Palombarini, who's sent the disc out of bounds at the back, and Gronical Dizziness with another chance. These chances have been few and far between, Benji.
Yeah, pretty much all of the turnovers, it feels, for the O-lines have come from overshooting in that direction. And it's weird because it doesn't feel like a really strong upwind, downwind game. It feels like you should be able to score against the wind, but generally the offense has just been clean enough that the D-lines haven't had many chances, and when they have, they've played good enough defense to the O-lines have played good enough defense to earn the disc back.
Sem Valks puts the disc up into traffic. Daniel Fernandez tries to bring that one down. The contact was made. The Italian player is Palombarini again.
Daniel Fernandez Ortiz, a nice Dutch name that. No, not really. He's from Gijón in Spain originally. But played for Force Electra out in Delft for a few years, and now a couple of years on Gronical Dizziness. He says national experience, none, yet.
Yet,
but career highlight, Huck assist in universe to make Force Electro the Dutch champions for the first time in 25 years of club history. That's some career highlight.
Yeah, he's also a black belt in karate.
Oh, okay, so no, not to get on the wrong side of him.
Yeah. I'm sure he's very cool with it. Great power comes great responsibility. Ven Haar being pushed backwards for Gronical Dizziness onto their own end zone line.
Thanks, Uncle Ben.
Stoiker. Oh, big hammer, spirals the wrong way. Is it going to move away? Oh, just enough contact from the outstretched arms. As the number 8, Kelly, gets across and gets that block. But all the problems started with that hammer throw, Benji.
And as soon as Fawkes threw it, he knew. He banged his thighs in frustration because it was this, almost before he released it, he knew, oh, this is not good.
What can Discobolo do with this shot? It's floating, but it's well read. Beautifully chased down and collected in the end zone by Remondini. A second goal, or a first goal to go with his 2 assists. He's had a great game, and that, I believe, levels it up. But it is just a hold. It was going to be a break if Gronical Dizziness has scored it, but it's gone back to Discobolo. A hold it is.
I think this time Remondini catches them off guard because we haven't really seen him go deep. Usually he's been throwing them, but this time he takes off. Gamandi sees the opportunity to put it deep, and nice little box created there by Matteo Di Betto Remondini, and clearly he's pretty psyched about it.
Yeah.
A previous European champion won the gold medal out in Veenendaal with Italy's under-20s at EBUCC that year in 2017. That was, I think, one of the first major international tournaments I covered there for a week, ULTI.TV. It was an experience, certainly. It was great fun. I loved it.
That disc going out of bounds. So 7 each here in the pool game between Discobolo and Gronical Dizziness.
Good game this as well.
Really good. Impossible to call it at this stage. Every pass, every point has been on serve. Getting it forward now. Garels. Big bid had to be made even by the receiver, and it's found a space over the top, but huge credit to Taji Pasigna, who rose and gathered that disc horizontally and then flicked across to the far side to find Lars Den Hertog in space for Lars' second goal of the game as well. Brilliant work.
Yeah, this one, you can see them, they're jamming it down that far sideline, and tight catch made under really good defensive pressure, but no dwelling on it. Pasigna picks himself up and, you know, floats that hammer over towards the far side. Pisalia, nothing he can do against the long, lean figure of Den Hertog, and it's 8-7.
I always say when you've got two players running side by side, it feels automatic for the defender to lay out. It doesn't always feel automatic for the
You need to know when you're going to have to commit, because there are some times when actually, if you've got position, it benefits you not to lay out, because if the defender then does lay out, you're in a scenario where, you know, the player who's marking up against you isn't in a position to get a force on, so maybe you can rip it deep, you can throw and go and leave the defender still sitting, eating the sand. There's a number of advantages to it. It's always the risk-reward calculation that you've got to weigh up in your head when you're deciding if you want to bid or not.
Benji Rees alongside myself, Tom Stiles, out here in Portugal in the sunshine. As the shadows start to lengthen and the evening draws closer. We've got one more game for you after this here on ULTI.TV, which I think is a mixed division game.
It is indeed, and a tasty one at that. Chac from Pornichet in France up against Bifaya from Torino in Italy. I don't know why it says Colombia. They're definitely Italian.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it should be weird given that it's European Beach Ultimate Club
I can tell you why that is, but you'd drop off to sleep before I got to the end of it. Anyway,
it's a coding thing.
Discobolo is here.
I'm going to assume it's a coding thing.
It is. Remondini set off to the races. He's gone deep. He's the threat at the moment, coming out of that deep space now. Tried to get the hand down, but couldn't contain. Pass was a little bit too far ahead, and injured in the process there.
Yeah, I think he landed on that solar plexus and winded himself a little bit. Also, you can see that he's got that brace on his right hand.
Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't quite have the mobility in it that he would in his other.
Incredibly effective player. But asked a big question there and wasn't able to get to the disc and control it. Gronical Dizziness now with an opportunity to take the first break of the game. Van der Voorde sends it up the field. Kirsten down the line. Could it be? No, it isn't. Another opportunity denied. The apology comes from Daniel Fernandez-Ordviz. Chances going begging from both these teams.
I think you can tell that Gronical Dizziness maybe sense that the opportunity for the break is there, having crossed Van der Voorde over to their D-line.
Very observant of you, Benji.
I have my moments.
Discobolo have the disc back. Oh, it's coming straight through. Bart Kirsten with the block. Van der Voorde now. This is a big line and a big moment for Gronical Dizziness, but they find the gap. Finally the break. Discobolo. It's been coming for a while, but a moment of lapsed concentration. A big block coming through from the hands of Bart Kirsten. Gets to the disc, back for Gronical Dizziness, and they push it in for a 9-7 lead.
The game's first break, and on come the players from the sideline, on come the pool noodles as well, which I hope they bought with their own money rather than pilfering from a communal leisure facility somewhere. That time going with the high release backhand across the field. We've got to get those up nice and early, because if you don't, the defender's got the inside line there and is just able to get a hand in there before Mengoli can reel it in, and then quickly just bouncing it around the end zone rather than going for the one killer pass, trying to flow it in naturally. And that leading flick to Fernandez proves the trick. First break of the game. I think it's always nice to have a game that doesn't just end completely on serve with no breaks, because then you feel a little bit hard done by for the team that started on defense.
Well, there's been no shortage of opportunities for both these sides. I think if it had,
that is true.
If it had finished like that, we would have been both teams could have looked at their D-line for not converting opportunities, but that is a mistake, a tired-looking mistake from Discobolo, hurling it downfield. See the body language, disappointed again.
I think that maybe comes from not really having your O-line play in this direction. Those hucks which you've been having to take stuff off because they've been going out the back. That time, you need to put a bit more on it, because otherwise it goes into the sand.
Dizziness haven't got that problem. They've been scoring downwind all day. And off to the races goes Christian Hacker. Can he chase this one down? Yes, he can. Puts in a little bit of extra high knee sprinting and chases it into the middle of the end zone. And where we had a game with no breaks, all of a sudden we've had two in a row, and Gronical Dizziness are looking good.
Look, it's a good reception by Hacker. He chases it down well, all of that, whatever. What a throw that is. Utterly, disgustingly filthy. Just that high release backhand, a bit of inside out on it. I mean, you cannot get a better throw than this.
Let's have a look at it again.
Just the force gets a little bit flat, and you know what? Just dismissive almost, just get out of my hair into the end zone. I mean, that is utter perfection.
You know, I was watching Hacker's cut, and because I saw that there was a chance the disc was going to go, and I completely missed. I completely missed that assist, but you're quite right. That was a dirty disc, wasn't it?
And it has to be creative, because the angle, because of where the cut started from, it's pretty much directly in front. So you've got to be creative to find a way to get it there, either with that inside-out shape, maybe you go a high release, you go with the blade, but honestly, you cannot do it any better than that. Cannot do it any better than that.
Well, that's 2 assists and 3 goals for Taji Pasigna. Deep shot from Discobolo. These shots are starting to look a little bit hopeful.
Yeah, transitioning some players through into their O-line. Santazani that time, he started to go deep, then he planted to come under, and when he did, he saw that the disc had been thrown and he couldn't catch up back to it. And timeout here from the Dutch.
Yeah, Marius van Laar looking at a high stall count. I think it was already got to 7 when touched the hand to the underside of the disc, and they're going to take a little break and a little chat, and I think while they do, we will also do the same. We'll be back just a moment.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere. Welcome back to the beach as the party in Portimão continues and the action in the Algarve hotting up on day 1 of the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships. And we're in the open division here as Gronical Dizziness from the Netherlands take on Discobolo Pontovecchio from Italiano.
Molto bene.
Myself, Tom Stiles, alongside the wonderful Benjamin Rees.
Ciao.
With a delightful afternoon of Ultimate right here on ULTI.TV. Gronical Dizziness, having broken twice in the last 2 points, have got the first margin of lead, and that's disc is arcing and arcing nicely. I didn't like the look of that out of the hand, but it worked perfectly into the hands of Hansma and Gronical Dizziness. These two teams couldn't get a break off each other in the first half. It was completely on serve to 7-8, and since then
three breaks on the bounce, 4 in the row to go from 7-7 to 7-11, and the Dutch are running away with this. Sometimes in these really tight games it does feel like the first break all of a sudden completely changes the complexion, because, you know, Discobolo, maybe they're rushing things a little bit more. For Gronical Dizziness, they've now got the confidence that that first break gives you, and blading it down the line there into the end zone. Thought that maybe actually it was wasn't quite enough, was too much angle on it and it wasn't going to reach there, but weighed it well enough, and that makes it 7-11, and I think game to 12 here.
Yes, the timer on the screen can tell you it's games to 45 minutes or 13 points, and so the time cap will have gone on in the middle of that previous point. They finish the point and add 1. So the target here is a game to 12. Disc in hand now for Gentilucci, gets it centered. Discobolo have been right in this game all the way through, suddenly find themselves on the back end of a sudden death loss here. They need to win every point, and Gronical Dizziness are making things hard for them now. Another deep shot option goes up. Van Haar underneath it, pressure from the Italians, but it takes 2 bites of the cherry, but comes down with it despite their effort. Discobolo unable to do anything, and from 7 each, it's just gone all the way of the Dutch, and they win this game 7-12. Italian hearts broken. It's been a really emphatic win, though, for the team Gronical Dizziness, Benji.
Yeah, they have really pulled away in the second half of this game. Bertolotti there with a bit of a hospital look deep, rose highest to bring it, but then trying to centre it off. Just the defender there really read his eyes, and Vahar maybe sees the opportunity for the double happiness here, and Pasigna is more than happy to give it to him. Bombs it deep, and Bertolotti desperate to make amends. There's good pressure, and sometimes when it's going your way, the disc just lands right in your lap, and that is a 7-12 victory.
Well, congratulations to Gronical Dizziness. They deserved that win, hanging tight all the way through. But Discobolo deserve a lot of credit for the way they played. Their deep shots connecting with certain clarity. Certainly in that first half, they had the number of Gronical Dizziness in the end zone, and they were making that play. So more action coming up for you following this game here on ULTI.TV. Do stay with us. But thanks very much for watching. From myself, Tom Styles, from Benji Rees, and from all of our ULTI.TV crew, do just click that like button before you go. But it's been a pleasure to have us with you, and we'll hope you join us again soon.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ULTI.TV.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI League. ULTILeague.net.
ULTI.TV lyrical.
Merci beaucoup.
ULTI.TV